want to see a real taste of Bulgaria? Today I'm going to show you. Come with me. Здравейте, приятели! Welcome back to A Taste of Bulgaria with me, Gareth. Okay, so today I'm going to give you the real taste of Bulgaria. I'm going to share with you a recipe that I was given a few years ago by a chef named Gorgi Hristov. Thank you, Gorgi. So I'm going to share this recipe with you. He said it was his grandmother's recipe. It's for Bulgarian Kapama. Now don't be confused with kavoma. It's a very different recipe altogether. So today I'm going to give you the recipe for Kapama. What is the most important thing when cooking? Mise en place. What is mise en place? The preparation. So let's get all the preparation ready first before we start. So here we go. We've got all our ingredients ready. So you might see a few things that are a bit different because me as a chef, I like to put my own touch on there. So I'm going to do some things that are just a little bit different from the traditional recipe. So what do you need today? You need the earthenware pot, otherwise known as a gvech. The meat we're going to use today is pork neck steak. We've got one chicken leg, we've got some bacon, and we've got some sausage. This sausage we buy from a friend of ours who makes it himself. This is half horse, half beef. Later on, if you stick with us, I'm going to show you some other little tricks that you can do with this sausage if you know it's fresh and you know where the meat is coming from. You're going to need some sour cabbage. This has been made by Petia's dad. This is the way to make the Bulgarian sour cabbage. It's left in salt water for a few months and then it becomes sour. So this is homemade from a cabbage that was grown in the garden. You need some paprika, again homemade paprika from peppers that have been left to dry, and we make a powder from this, from peppers that were grown in the garden. We've got some rice, we need some rice to make it thicker. We've got some mas, which is the fat from the pork. This is also homemade. And we just render the fat from a pig, and we take the fat, we let it cool down, and it sets like this, and we can use this to cook, give a really beautiful taste. We need a glass of red wine. It's large glass, because I'm going to drink some of that as well. Also homemade red wine from Petia's father. Also we've got, this is one of my little differences that I'm going to do. I'm going to put onion inside. So we've got a little bit of onion, and these onions are quite small, so I would say it's about 100-150 grams of onions, and these are small because these are homegrown in the garden. And also a little bit of celeriac. Now these are not traditionally in Kapama, but I think that this will enhance the flavour. It will not change the flavour, it will only help to enhance the flavour. So as I was saying, one other difference that I like to do, I like to fry the meat. Traditionally you don't fry the meat, but by caramelizing the meat will give extra flavour to the dish. That's why I think it's very important for me in my dish, in my recipe, that I'm going to just seal the meat, give it a nice brown colour, and this will give it an excellent flavour. So let's start with doing that. I'm going to switch that on. We're going to take our mas. Now you want to take a good spoon of this because we're going to put some of this inside the gvech. So we put a good spoon inside. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to melt down and heat up, we can have a little sip of this red wine, nice homemade red wine. Na zdravie. And then we're going to prepare our onions. Just want to slice them. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to slice them. Okay, so the oil is melted. Now we take the earthenware pot and we're going to put a little bit of this inside. So just be careful because it's very hot. So we're going to pour half of that inside. Then we're going to start to fry the meat. Listen to that sound. That's sizzling. That's a great sound. I love it. So I'm going to shake this around a little bit. Make sure that all the fat gets to the edges. Make sure you put the lid on that, it's very hot. So the next thing we're going to do, take a grater and we're going to grate the celeriac. We're going to grate it on the thinnest one. Okay, the chicken's ready, so let's put the pork inside. You can do the sausage at the same time. And while we're waiting for that, you can start to chop the cabbage. We're going to chop the cabbage into cubes. But we're not going to chop all the cabbage, we're going to save a few little pieces just to layer on the top. Let's have another little drink. That's why I made myself a large glass. So, next up we're going to fry the onions a little bit and the celery. And as you can see, we've already chopped up the bacon into small little strips as well. After a couple of minutes of frying the onions and the celery, we're going to throw the bacon inside as well. So, after you put the bacon inside, fried it off a little bit, now it's time to put the paprika. Now I've got about 4 large tablespoons. So I'm going to throw that in because frying that off a little bit will intensify the flavour of the paprika also. But you have to be very careful not to burn the paprika because you will give a bitter taste then. Just a small fry off, and then we can now start to layer up our cabbage. So let's have a little spin around again with the fat. Just make sure the fat is all the way around. We can go first. And we're going to layer it up bit by bit by bit. So first, we're going to put some of our cabbage inside. I'm going to take a spoon of our paprika, onion, celery mix. I'm going to give that a good mix around. And actually what we haven't done, is what is always a good idea, is to cut your meat into as many portions as people that you have. So today we're going to have 3. So I'm going to cut my pork steak into 3. Be careful to cut out the bone. I'm going to cut my sausage also into 3. And the chicken leg also into 3. This one you need quite a sharp knife with for it. But I'm not going to throw that bones away. I'm going to put the bones inside because they'll also give it a nice intenser flavour into the dish. So I'm going to put 1 piece of chicken in, 1 piece of pork, 1 piece of sausage. lid on, and they used to put some dough around the outside, so we used to seal it in. But actually there is an easier way. You get some baking paper, put that on the top. This is going to give the same effect. Okay, so when your lid's on, we can just put it in. So we're going to put that in the oven. Going to make sure that you put it in about the middle of the oven, so we need to change our position here. And that's going to cook. And that's going to cook for about 3.5–4 hours. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. Come back when it's ready. Now I'm going to show you what else we do with these when we buy them fresh. Here we have the fresh sausage, and here is the dried one, what it'll look like after a couple of weeks of drying. Take your fresh sausage, take a rolling pin or something hard, roll it firm but lightly. Roll it on each side and repeat this process every day until it starts to look dry. Leave in a cold place, it's around 5 degrees Celsius. So I would say this recipe was a definite success. Everybody really enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed watching it, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, or if you want to see videos about the travel and tourism in Bulgaria, a taste of Bulgaria, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that bell for notifications so that you can be one of the first to hear when we get a new video out. And if you want to share your own recipes with us, or you want to tell us if you're going to try my recipe or not, please leave a comment in below. I'm always reading all the comments like I always say, and I will try to reply back to them as soon as possible. So until the next video, thanks for being with us.